Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Anu Joshi and I'm a real estate broker serving Toronto and the GTA. I'm also the founder of Anuvision Group. On today's video, I'm going to be discussing the vacant homes tax that now applies to the City of Toronto. Simply put, the vacant home tax applies to a property that is considered vacant for the previous tax year. So currently, this video is being uploaded in February of 2023, so the taxation year that we're talking about is 2022. A property is considered vacant if it was not used as a principal residence by the owners or any permitted occupants, or was not occupied by tenants for a total of 6 months or more during the previous calendar year. Properties may also be deemed or considered to be vacant if an owner fails to make a declaration of occupancy status as outlined in the bylaw. As per 2023, February 28th is the last day for all City of Toronto property owners to make their declaration. And you must declare. If you don't declare the status of your property, then it is going to be considered vacant, and your house or property will be subject to the vacant homes tax. The goal of the City of Toronto's vacant home tax, or VHT for short, is to increase the supply of housing by discouraging owners from leaving their residential properties unoccupied. All homeowners who choose to keep their properties vacant will be subject to this tax. Though all homeowners are required to submit a declaration of the occupancy status, the tax does not apply to properties that are the principal residence of the owner. So if the owner is living there as their principal residence, it also does not apply to properties that are the principal residence of a permitted occupant or tenant. So if somebody's has signed a lease, or you're the child of a parent that owns that property, but that child is occupying it as their principal residence, it is exempt. There's also a list of exemptions that you can find on the City of Toronto website that do enable you to not pay the vacant home tax. Some examples include that if the home or the property was undergoing repairs or renovations, of course, you do have to fulfill certain criteria. You have to submit copies of building permits and stuff like that to prove that it was, in fact, under renovation or undergoing repairs to be exempt from the vacant homes tax. There's a couple of other exceptions. For example, if you need to keep the home unoccupied for job purposes, for example, if the principal owner works abroad 6 months of the year and then works out of Toronto for 6 months of the year, and that's why they occupy it as a principal residence when they're here, but the other 6 months it's sitting vacant, that would constitute an exemption. However, you do need to provide proof of residency and proof of your job, and that it requires you to do this and be out of Toronto for 6 months of a year or what have you. So basically, the exemptions can be found on the City of Toronto's website. I put all the links and everything below so you guys can read about it, but I just wanted to go over the basics there. Now, the main thing that you have to declare with this tax are the 5 types of occupancy statuses, which I'm going to go over very quickly. Okay, so number 1 is occupied as a principal residence of the homeowner. So that's very straightforward. Basically, if it's your home, you occupy it for pretty much the whole year. That's occupied as a principal residence of the homeowner, not subject to the vacant homes tax. The other occupancy status is occupied as a principal residence of a permitted occupant. So the example I gave previously, if a child is living in a parent's home, or if there is a tenant with a lease signed that's occupying that home as their principal residence, that's also exempt. Occupied as a tenanted property, again, they're just breaking it down, but the property must be occupied by 1 or more tenants for 6 months or more throughout the year. So it has to be mostly tenanted. Majority of the days it has to be tenanted. There's also the status of vacant with an eligible exemption. The exemptions that we talked about before, or that can be found on the City of Toronto website. Of course, you have to provide proof that you are exempt, and it's subject to a case-by-case review. However, a vacant with an eligible exemption, if you meet those requirements, then that property also is not subject to the vacant homes tax. So the 4 occupancy statuses that we reviewed as of right now, these last 4, are not subject to the vacant homes tax. The only occupancy status that is subject to the vacant home tax is vacant or deemed determined vacant. So if if you really are keeping it vacant, you don't meet any of the exemptions. Nobody, not yourself or your family member or your tenant, is occupying it as a principal residence. If it's genuinely vacant, you must pay the vacant homes tax. Now, the question that I get from a lot of clients in the city of Toronto is, how much is the vacant homes tax? Okay, so the vacant homes tax is going to be 1% of your current value assessment. So the CVA can be found with the City of Toronto. It will be imposed on all Toronto residences that are declared, deemed, or determined vacant. So let's say the CVA comes up as 1 million, right? 1 million times 1% would be 10,000. So if in the previous year, in 2022, your property was deemed to be vacant and the current value assessment, according to the City of Toronto, of your property is $1 million, then for that vacant home, there will be a vacant home tax applied to that of 1%, which is $10,000, payable in this tax year for the previous year. If you have any other questions about how vacant homes tax works in Toronto, feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my best to help you where I can. I'm also putting the resources from the City of Toronto in the box below, in the description box below. And if you have any other questions, I'd be more than happy to help you in regards to real estate in Toronto and the GTA. Once again, my name is Anu Joshi. I'm a real estate broker serving Toronto and the Greater Toronto Area, the founder of Anuvision Group. And if you made it to the end of this video and you thought it was helpful, please give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel, because I do post new and informative real estate videos every single week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.